In the next tutorial, we will create a simple spiral staircase. For this demo, we will learn three things in Maya. First, we will learn how to move pivot points. Second, we will learn about freeze transformations. And third, we will learn about the duplicate options box. Let's get started. So I'm going to create a new scene. Okay. First, let's create a polygon cylinder for the pole of our staircase. So let's go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and then Cylinder. Then I'm going to press 5 to see our cylinder in shaded view. Let's use the Scale tool to scale this up. Okay. Let's also reduce the radius by scaling this down. And then let's continue to scale this up. Let's also move this up above our grid. Okay. Then let's create the first step of our stair. So let's create a polygon cube. Okay. Let's move this to the side. Then let's scale it up and make it into a step. So let's click on the scale tool and then just reduce the thickness and then scale it up lengthwise. Okay. Next, I'm going to go to my front view just to align our step to the base of our cylinder. So I'm just going to move this down and make sure it intersects our cylinder halfway. Okay, before we move on, we can see in the channel box to your right the changes we've made to make the first step. First, let's change the name of the cube into step 1. What I did was I just selected and double clicked on the P cube and then type in step 1 and then press enter. Let's also rename the cylinder. So I'm going to select it and then double click. Let's name this pole. Okay. Next, what we want to do is we want to zero out all of the values that we made. So to do that, let's go to Modify and then click on Freeze Transformations. As you can see, this allows us to reset all of the values that we made. Let's do the same thing for the cylinder. So go to Modify, Freeze Transformations. Okay, next we will move the pivot point of our step to the corner. So let's select our step. As you can see, our pivot point is at the center. So if I scale this down and rotate this to the side, all of our transformations are coming from the center. But if we move this pivot point to the corner, so to move pivot points, just hold letter D on your keyboard and then just left click and drag. And then to release it or to make the change permanent, just release the letter D on your keyboard. And now if I access the rotation tool again and the scale tool, you can see the deformations are coming from the corner. So now let's start duplicating the step. So let's go to Edit and then Duplicate. And then let's move this step up. As you can see in the channel box, all of our changes are being recorded. So just to be a little bit more sure, let's type in 0.5. So that's a little bit more exact. And then let's rotate our step. So let's make the rotation of y to maybe a value of 20. Okay. So let's remember that we translated our second step at y to a 0.5 value and then rotated it at 20 degrees. So now let's delete the step. Let's select the first step Make sure again that everything is in 0 and the scale is set to 1. Let's go to Edit, Duplicate Special, and then click on the option box next to it. Okay, this opens up the window, so I'm just going to reset all of our settings. You can find the documentation of this window within this chapter, so I will not explain much about the settings. We will though make changes here. So this set of numbers here controls the x-axis. These ones at the middle controls the y, and the right, these values at the right controls the z-axis. So if you remember the changes we did for our second step, we moved it at translate y, which is at the middle, the value of 0.5 or 0.5, and then we rotated it for 20 degrees at the value of y in the rotation. So let's change this to 20, and then let's set the number of copies to maybe around 30 steps. Okay, so let's click apply. Now you can see that we've created the whole spiral staircase, although we have a few steps here that are floating. So let's just adjust our cylinder up to scale. So let's just click on the scale tool and then scale this up, and then move this up. And that concludes our tutorial for this chapter.